Hello everybody, MegazardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting collection reflection video where I go through my whole entire gaming library. Could be a game, could be a console, and it could be a limited edition. But today we're going to be talking about none other than Majora's Mask, because I definitely have a soft spot, at least for this one particular game in general though, because this is one of those games I never grew up playing on the Nintendo 64. It wasn't obviously until the 3DS remaster version where I actually were able to go through and get this game in my hands. And man, when you talk about a unique Legend of Zelda game, one that plays quite drastically different from every other game in the series because it takes a heavy emphasis on the time aspect though, I just love and adore this game to there and back, because like, oh shoot, this game was checking off all the right boxes, at least at that time period where I was just going through and playing the heck out of my Nintendo 3DS back in the days though. So we might as well go ahead and jump up in this though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. Now, I remember when I first managed to get this game, it wasn't a game that I went out to get at my local Best Buy or something, or Walmart or anything like that. If you remember back in the day, Nintendo used to do this program with the Nintendo Club, where it's like, hey, if you got platinum or gold points, you were actually able to use this to redeem physical rewards in whole entire games. And I think they rewarded you for, like, if you bought so many different Wii games, 3DS or Wii U games and stuff like that, and if you got enough points and collected enough, they will give you certain games for free if you manage to hit certain tiers, like a platinum or a gold tier. And that's how I got Majora's Mask 3D, because I think I was in the platinum or the gold tier or something like that. So that was like one of the few games that I could technically say Nintendo gave that to me absolutely for free. Kind of felt like a content creator back in the day, at least the status of getting a free game though. They don't do that mess no more though, but hey, that's how I got my copy of Majora's Mask 3D digitally on my 3DS though. And since then, the rest was history. I wasn't necessarily the biggest Legend of Zelda fan, at least up until this point. I think the only Zelda game I played prior to this, surprisingly enough, I think was Skyward Sword, which I loved the heck out of that mess on the Wii though. But I started to get a little bit more curious about, what kind of other adventures and stuff that Link could have been on in the lead ups to that game, because there was a lot more other Legend of Zelda games prior to Skyward Sword, and I was like, oh, okay, this one, Majora's Mask, was originally for the Nintendo 64. It's technically a remaster that was brought to the 3DS. So I was like, okay, I'm willing to try this out, especially since the game is for free though. Now, this game, oh my goodness, like what I said before, the fact that this is a really unique game because the time concept element, because you're constantly in an ongoing loop of replaying these final 3 days before the destruction of the whole entire town and everything else within that land and stuff, as the moon was slowly inching its way from outer space to almost landing on the planet itself. And oh shoot, you talk about some high stakes. Like the fact that you could always look up in the sky in the game and be like, oh my goodness gracious, if I don't hurry up and get what I need to get done right now, so help me, this moon might fall down on this earth and kill us all. Like, oh freaking shoot. All because of some happy mask salesman was like selling out some masks and stuff, and one of these kids or something managed to get their hands up on it though and got possessed by the power and stuff, and now he wants to drop the moon up on you. It's like, well, what the freak is going on up in this game though? But overall, this game is dark, and when I say dark, I mean like pitch black dark, and then add a little bit extra darkness up on the side though. And I'm like, what on earth? Because the fact that as you go through traversing through this game, not only are you trying to save the world and stuff from the moon falling up on the planet of the earth, but you also have to look at the other people that are being affected by this. And you can do a whole bunch of different side quests while you're going through and playing through this game. And you can see it in the people, the town folks' conversations and stuff. Like, you'll see them being dreadful, getting a little bit more depressed as each day happens to, progress on. And you can help these people out and help them feel a little bit better though. But at least when you were first seeing all this stuff go down, it wasn't necessarily the kindest or the most pleasant stuff to see at least happen to all of these different people. And it was like, what? It was like, whoa, my goodness, though. All the enemies and stuff, and you had like the different masks and stuff, which allow you to go through like different traversal things, like with the Deku Scrub map, with the Deku Scrub mask, you were able to actually, go through like different gaps and stuff, be able to float around and stuff. Or you had the Zora mask, you're actually able to traverse through water. Or if you had the Goron one, you're able to actually like move really fast and bust through a lot of different things and such while you're going through and traversing through this world, like busting up rocks and such though. So yeah, I like how they had different abilities and stuff locked behind these different masks though. So it kind of gave you a little bit of a great sense of adventure up in there though. Obviously they had dungeons galore up in here though, and because of the whole time element aspect that I was talking about earlier, hey, you definitely had to go through it and manage your time quite well, because if you didn't, you could hit the very end of the game, the 72 hours is up, dawn of the final day, and then you happen to lose, and then you have to go back to a previous save though. So even when you're going through in dungeons and stuff, I remember having, you have to bust out the Ocarina of Time so many different times. You'll start memorizing the tunes left and right for whether you're trying to rewind time or you're trying to advance time to get to a certain specific day, where you're trying to like progress a side quest or something like that. And you can't go into a dungeon when you didn't have enough time to go through and traverse through the whole thing and beat the dungeon boss. So it kind of gave you like a little bit of a time limit gauge, a healthy one. I mean, yes, at times it was a little bit stressful though, but I mean, outside of that, it was okay for the most part. I didn't really have too many issues with it though. But I did kind of like it because I mean, there's only one game that has that time element to the level of degree of what Majora's Mask happens to do. And I would dare say between this and Ocarina of Time, yes, I hadn't still managed to go through and play through all of Ocarina of Time though, but I can see why a lot of people love and adore maybe Majora's Mask a little bit more so than Ocarina of Time, for the unique things that you're able to do within the time element and stuff. And then just having a darker themed story and stuff, because you get some dark Zelda games here and there though, but there's just nothing classic in terms of like a dark Majora's Mask style game though. But I can kind of go on and on and on about talking about this game though. And while I hadn't really kind of scratched much more beyond the surface of it though, because I know it's been a while since I managed to go through and play through this game though. Even when I was going through and traversing and looking up like different trailers and such, just trying to remind myself about this game. I mean, this game was challenging at times, like, because there were some moments where I'll go through this game and be like, wait, what do I got to do next? Like, what's the next thing I have to explore and stuff? So it caused me to think and have to problem shoot and and explore all the different possibilities that were given out before me quite well. Oh, and speaking of things, with it being a remaster and such, I knew I was about to slip up on this mess though. They did manage to do some extra bonus inclusions up in this thing, because hey, now you have a somewhat more modern controller with the 3DS than you did with the 64 controller, where you're able to map a lot more buttons and stuff to do certain things in terms of like whether it be attack, switching out the different masks and stuff like that between the touchscreen and then your A, B, X, Y, L, and R buttons and stuff. You're able to do a lot more in terms of like the gameplay and what you're able to do versus what you were able to do originally on the Nintendo 64. Because on that version, I believe you have to go into the menu sets and kind of switch out your items, left and right, and program them to certain things though. But you don't have to go into that menu nearly as much, since they had so many different things mapped to certain buttons and the touchscreen as well though. And I think outside of that, that's pretty much all I had to say on Majora's Mask. If you hadn't played this game, I highly recommend doing so. Yes, it's still technically available on the NSO server, so if you had the expansion pack tier, you can play that version though. But if you do have a Nintendo 3DS, I do implore you to try out this, the 3D version, the remaster of it though, because I think that is still a great, and to this day, a solid experience. Definitely take advantage of playing that on a new Nintendo 3DS with the bigger screen, because I was playing this game back in the day with the smaller screen and such. And I still may do with it though, but I mean, nowadays, if I was going to go through playing it again, I'm definitely doing it on my new 2DS XL, because that screen, man, bigger screen for a 3DS, man, that just feels so great though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below what all experiences did you have while going through and playing through Majora's Mask? Is it one of your favorite Zelda games in the whole entire series? Or is it not? Or do you, peg it a little bit differently in terms of like how you stack all the different Zelda games? You just gotta let me know. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's video though. So if you really like this video, make sure you're gonna hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.